It is April 28th. It is day 99 of the Trump presidency. We are almost at day 100. For some reason, that feels like a big accomplishment. It's really not. We have a long way to go. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that, but it's the truth. I'm sorry for not being here yesterday. There's just a lot going on. I got a lot going on, but I will be here most days. And I will try to give you a heads up when I can. Okay, let's get into it because we have a lot of news to cover today. So there was a huge power outage in Spain and Portugal today. Literally millions and millions of people without power. The public transit wasn't working. Obviously no one had internet access, cell phone coverage, or access to their finances because all of that requires internet and power. So people are reporting that everyone was kind of hysterical. People are giving away food for free, which is wonderful. They weren't charging for things, trying to get people home, yada, yada. You know what? It sounds like there's like kind of rolling, like it's coming back a little bit in some areas, but a lot of people are still out and they don't know what happened, which is the craziest part. So they did look to see, and they're not going to completely eliminate this as a possibility, but they do not see any evidence that it was a cyber attack. There has been a lot of concern in that area about cyber attacks of this nature coming from Russia. They're not calling that out as the cause at this point, but they don't know what the cause is. So that's pretty scary. And I can understand why that probably felt very apocalyptic to people. I'm sure that the power will be restored as soon as they possibly can, but obviously if there is an issue with the power grid or something, it could take longer, right? So more updates on that to come. Trump has signed some new executive orders on immigration today that are getting kind of like a lot of attention. Okay, so he signed an executive order saying that truck drivers must be proficient in English in order to maintain a certain level of safety and drive a truck here. Here's what's interesting about that. Everyone is freaking out, and I get it. However, that was already a law, and it just hasn't been enforced. So they're gonna do everything that they can to punish non-English speaking people in this country, and anyone who is not a white man, essentially, is going to receive backlash. That being said, this was already a law. Frustrating, however, and, you know, I heard an interesting theory floated about this because with what's happening with the trade war and tariffs, the ports are completely empty. So there's been a ton of reporting on how the ports in Oregon, maybe? Seattle. The Seattle ports, the ports in California, they're empty. There's like one or two more shipments coming in, and then that's it. And Trump had that meeting with the CEOs of Walmart and like the grocery stores and Costco and Target, and they're all telling him, yo, our shelves are going to be empty any second now. And it's not going to be just like it was with COVID. It's going to be way, way worse. So obviously, who relies on shipping goods for their jobs? I mean, people who drive trucks, right? So the trucking industry is about to take an enormous, enormous hit. And what someone was pointing out about this is that by reinforcing this law and, you know, cracking down on it, they're trying to basically make sure that English-speaking Americans keep the jobs that are left. In any case, we are super fucked when it comes to food and goods, and I would prepare for shortages in the ways that you can. I'm not a prepper, man. I'm not. I mean, I have a lot of seeds here. I have like hundreds and hundreds of seeds. I wouldn't say I have a seed library, but I have like an entire box of seeds, and I have a little greenhouse, and I have like a little raised bed that's growing, like I'm growing asparagus and strawberries and kale, and there's some stuff in there that's already growing. I haven't even really gotten started on this year, but there's the asparagus and the strawberries and the kale are just like regrowing from last year. It looks like the cucumbers might be starting to come up too. I would recommend like getting extra beans and rice and things like that, because you can't go wrong with that anyways, right? Like you might as well have that on hand. That being said, yeah, we could go into a time where there's some things that are really hard to get, like bananas and coffee and chocolate. I mean, coffee, that's going to suck. That's going to suck. I'm going to be really upset. If they take away the coffee, or if coffee is like $100, I'm going to be a lot grouchier for a while. In any case, you know, people have had to go through this stuff before, so it's going to be okay. It's not ideal, to say the least, and it's probably going to throw a lot of people into a tailspin of one kind or another. The other piece of his executive orders about immigrants is that they are requiring federal officials to publish lists of sanctuary cities. We used to say sanctuary cities in a positive way. They mean it in a bad way. What they want to know is what cities are not complying with ICE, and then they're going to go after them. No surprise there, right? I mean, I'm not surprised. I hope you're not. So poll after poll continues to come out about Trump, just saying that people are sick of his shit. Generally speaking, he has the worst polling less than 100 days into his term that of any president in the last 80 years. Sorry, my daughter is watching the puppy. And 71% of Americans are currently saying that obviously what's happening, what he's doing with the economy is bad. Yeah, duh. So what does he do? He wants the polls to be investigated for fraud and election interference. Oh, man. That guy is something else. It's funny. It is funny. At least it's like extremely transparent. I feel like that's so transparent that maybe even some of his followers could start to be like, well, okay, that might be going too far. Anyways, I'm sure he's going to continue to freak out all over Truth Social as he usually does. The Canadian elections are tonight. Ooh, scary. Although the polls have swung in a large way towards Mark Carney, who is the Liberal Party leader that is up for election. And then Pierre Poilievre, I can't pronounce this guy's name, I'm sorry, is the Conservative Party option. So the polls were leaning heavily towards Pierre prior to Trump coming along. And what Trump has done is swung everything hard for Mark Carney. So it's interesting, you know, obviously like we're taking it in the teeth right now, but it is scaring the absolute living shit out of the entire rest of the world to the degree that I think it has, you know, started shifts in other places because they're like, we don't want to end up like that. Right. So it's not all bad what's happening. I mean, we just happen to be paying the price for it. And obviously I don't have any information back for you. I'm sure the polls are not even closed yet. But we'll know for sure by tomorrow, which is crazy. Yikes. Hopefully we'll get Carney into office, because another thing about him is he's going to take a really hard line against Trump, and he supposedly is very well connected among European financiers and just in general. So it will help kind of put up a little bit more of a guardrail against Trump, and that's good. The Trump administration has reversed a stance from previous administrations that said that the UN Agency for Palestine Refugees could not be held civilly liable or sued, essentially. So the Trump administration just went in and reversed this because they're planning to sue them and try to hold them this agency accountable for the attacks that happened October 7th of 2023. Yeah. We tried to tell everyone that the Trump administration was going to take a much harder stance against Palestine than the Democrats had or than Harris would have. Nobody listened. And what's happening is literally really fucked up. It's not good. I've seen some updates from there. They've run out of food. We're just going to jump down to this story. The attacks from Israel on Gaza have increased, and they have had a blockade against any supplies or food or water getting in for the last 2 months, and they're completely out now. What's happening there is an unbelievable nightmare. And again, I don't have a solution, obviously. I mean, I don't know. It would be crazy if I did. I sure don't. It's not safe for humans to be in that area. I understand why people don't want to leave. I'm sure they feel like if they leave, they will never get back. But the problem is, if you stay, you're probably not going to make it. It's like not a good situation. Very sad. I'm very sad for them. And I am not surprised. You know, I think it's very clear that the Trump administration has an extremely, I guess we'll say, close relationship with Netanyahu. They have financial plans together about what they want to do with that area. And they are at Netanyahu's beck and call. So that's what it is. Representative Jerry Connolly of Virginia is stepping down as the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee. Unfortunately, his cancer has returned, and he has spent 30 years in public service. And, you know, he made a statement and said his heart is full. He's glad he's had the opportunity to do this, but he's going to get out of there. And honestly, good for him. It's not great for us because he was an important person in, again, as like part of the House Oversight Committee. It's important. We need a Democrat. We need people there making sure that this administration isn't abusing things, but obviously they are. So I don't know. We'll find out. I don't know what the replacement process is going to look like for him at all. And the article didn't say much about that. We have a series of major storms headed again for the Midwest this week. I believe that it's already hit parts of Minnesota and Iowa and maybe a little bit of Wisconsin. I know it's planning to, the storm is planning to spread to Ohio. It's going to be like lightning, maybe tornadoes, heavy winds, rain. Hopefully not fucking more flooding, man. Yeah, it's been a lot for, weather. I mean, it's not going to get better, but hoping, I don't know, thoughts and prayers. That's really all we got at this point. We don't have much else to offer each other right now, do we? Can't offer FEMA. Sorry about that. If your house gets destroyed in a tornado, well, good luck. And talking to myself just as much. I'm in Michigan. It's possible. I did get a text message that we're expecting severe weather. So it's possible that, you know, I'm not immune from this by any stretch of the imagination. Trump made an idiotic statement. That could just sum up the entire show, right? I could have just said that and turned this off. That he runs the country and also runs the world now. And I'm really curious to know how, like, other dictators feel about him saying stuff like that. Again, I feel like it's like a narcissist party. It's just like all these psychopaths fighting each other for power. But there's like a period of time where they're kind of cooperating because they're all working to dismantle the systems that protect us against them. And then once they've done that, then they're going to have to fight each other next. So that'll be interesting. Anyways, he is an absolute loser. Speaking of absolute loser, the White House lawn is covered in, this is so gross. So gross. They have made like poster board photos of all of the people that they've deported with their pictures and like their crimes printed across their pictures. I'm not even kidding. And these, by the way, are just crimes that the White House is accusing them of committing. There's been no evidence presented for any of it. No arrest records or anything. So, you know, I could be next. They'll just be like, this lady is a witch. Fuck her, we sent her to El Salvador. Anyways, I shouldn't be laughing, because honestly, it's very possible. So Such a shit show. German intelligence has arrested 2 Russian spies, both of whom had Pete Hegseth's private number in their cell phones. They were scoping out targets, American targets in Germany to attack. So that's cool. Nothing to see here, folks. Just we've just been infiltrated by Russian spies, people working for Russia. Don't worry. Everything's fine. All right. Last story tonight. North Korea has unfortunately deployed troops to Ukraine to fight alongside Russia. And Putin is calling them heroes. And I don't know. That war is going on and on and on. I didn't even write this down, but I remember that. I guess Putin is saying he's going to do another 72-hour hold on the war. It's temporary ceasefire. I mean, every time he says that, they just keep bombing. So, I don't think it's worth very much. It's something to do with some sort of holiday that they celebrate or something, maybe. Or, oh no, it's the anniversary of World War II, something. I don't know if it's the anniversary of the end or the anniversary of the beginning. Anyways, long story short, I don't know. Trump is publicly threatening him that he needs to end it. He's not going to do anything. I'm saying Trump is not going to do anything to actually put pressure on Putin. He keeps saying he's going to sanction Russia, and then he sanctions the whole entire world. He puts tariffs on the whole entire world except for Russia. So nothing's going to happen. Anyways, short show tonight. Kind of sped through those headlines, but I think, hopefully, like I said, if I do these shows like a little tiny bit shorter, maybe I'll be able to try to squeeze them in almost daily or daily to the best of my abilities. I just have a lot of home projects that need to get completed. Some of them are outside, so they're time sensitive, but I'm doing my best. And thank you for being here. And I love you guys. And hopefully no more crazy shit happens. But you know what? I'm going to put my money on the fact that it will. And I'll see you here again tomorrow.